On February 6th, a powerful earthquake hit the border of Turkey and Syria. The place the earthquake hit was in Turkey, but it was on the border of Syria. This earthquake got everybody's attention around the world, so now we want to see what it is and how it happened. We have to know that the Earth is separated to different tectonic plates, and they all move in the direction they please. The lines between these plates are called faults. When these plates get stuck to one another and all of a sudden they slip, an insane amount of energy is released and it causes the Earth to shake. The magnitude and intensity of the earthquake has a Richter scale, and the stronger it is, the higher the number goes. 1 Richter to 2 Richter is very different from one another. 2 Richter is 30 times more powerful than 1, and when it's 3 Richter, it's 30 times again. So 3 Richter is 900 times 1 Richter. Earthquakes usually cause 3 different types of waves. The first wave is the quickest, and it's the first wave you would feel after an earthquake. And by the way it looks, they call it the push and pull wave. The second type of wave that usually happens is like a sea wave, and it goes up and down. But the third type of wave is the slowest one, but in return it causes the most destruction, and that means it pushes and pulls, and it also goes up and down. So you could say it goes in all types of directions, and that's the reason it causes all this destruction. Throughout the entire world, there are these devices called seismometers, and with these tools, they could detect earthquakes all over the world. With the help of seismometers all over the world, they can determine the exact point of interest where the earthquake happened. They basically have to use 3 different seismometers around the point and detect how far the waves went. And with that help, they could figure out where the exact point is. Most earthquakes will happen around the fault lines. The place where the earthquake happened in Turkey and Syria is on the Alp-Himalayas belt. And this is the belt we're talking about that comes all the way from the Himalayas and goes to Europe where the Alps are. But it's not only the fault lines and the tectonic plates where earthquakes happen. It could happen in a place where the tectonic plates are very far. In the depths of the earth, there is a lot of pressure on different types of rock, and there is a chance you could stress these pieces of rock out. If these stressed rocks feel like they want to collapse, they will cause an earthquake, and this is outside of the fault lines. In 1968, a 6.5 magnitude earthquake happened in Western Australia, and it made everybody surprised because in that area there is no fault line. But the scientists realized that the reason the earthquake took place in this area was because of the stressed rocks beneath that area. A 6.5 magnitude earthquake is no joke either, but it showed people that it's not only the fault lines that could cause an earthquake. So even if you're in an area that doesn't have earthquakes, you're still not safe from them. The earth is like a living creature, and you can't treat it like some dead being. Don't think you can just build anything on top of this planet and it will be left there forever. You have to build it very strong, or else this will happen. So now we know how earthquakes work. Let's go to Turkey and Syria and see what happened. The center point of the earthquake was the red dot, and that's with a magnitude of 7.8. Just like we said, West Asia is very prone to earthquake, but an earthquake like this in the Middle East has not happened in centuries. After the 7.8 magnitude earthquake in Turkey, a little bit north of that area, a 7.5 magnitude earthquake happened a few hours after it. Right now that we are recording this video, over 25,000 people have been reported dead in Turkey and Syria, and more than 87,000 people injured. It's good to know that the second earthquake was 7.5 magnitude, but after this, 1,052 aftershocks have been recorded, and over 170 of them have been reported over magnitude 4.0. Let's look at the tectonic plates in this area. This is the Anatolia plate. On the right we have the Arabian plate, and the southern part is the African plate. Between these plates, there is a war going on for millions of years, and in the middle of all this, Anatolian plate is getting sandwiched between all of them. The Arabian plate, the African plate from south, and the Eurasian plate from the north are all pushing towards the Anatolian plate, and they've been putting a lot of pressure on it. These pressures we're talking about, it's not like it moves a meter a day. These move centimeters per year. The reason this earthquake was very powerful was because of these pressures were being held up for centuries, and all of a sudden all that power released. The area with the most pressure the Anatolian plate experiences is where the African, Arabian, and Anatolian plate meet, which is a triangle. And this is the reason the earthquake spot is near this triangle. When tectonic plates move around each other freely, they cause no problems for that area. Things get sketchy when these plates get stuck to one another. They put pressure on each other, but they can't move. And year after year, all this pressure builds up. And then all of a sudden, the layers of the Earth's crust can't hold it anymore. And all of a sudden, it releases like a spring. That's the reason this earthquake was extremely powerful. It has been over 200 years since this area has experienced a major earthquake. The previous major earthquake happened in 1822 in Aleppo, Syria. Since it's an old earthquake, they don't know how many people died because of it, but it's estimated that between 20,000 and 60,000 people were killed. The USGS has announced that this area of Turkey and Syria are extremely dangerous to this day, and the chances of another major earthquake and major aftershocks to happen are very high. So the people and authorities are still on the lookout. Geologists believe that the most dangerous earthquake area is in the Anatolian plate. But this doesn't mean a place like the Middle East is all safe and sound. Just like we said, the earth is alive and well, and it likes to move around. Anywhere in the world you build something and want to go inside there, you have to build it properly, or things like this will easily happen. If a place is supposed to have a lot of earthquakes and it doesn't have it for a long time, it's actually very dangerous, because if earthquakes happen little by little, it releases all the pressure and it doesn't build up. And you could say all those little shocks releases stress between the plates. Other than the Middle East, the west side of North America is extremely dangerous for earthquakes. There are 3 fault lines on this area that could cause a major earthquake. The Cascadia Zone, which is inside the Pacific Ocean. We have the San Andreas Fault, which goes through the entire state of California. And we have the Hayward Fault, that's pretty much in Northern California. These 3 put a major danger in all of Western North America, from Canada all the way to Mexico. Not only the danger of an earthquake, but dangers of a tsunami. One of the reasons in Western United States the houses are built with wood is because of earthquakes. And that means if earthquakes happen, it's much lighter and it doesn't collapse as easily. So why are we talking about the west of the US? The reason is that in the year 1906, a terrible earthquake hit San Francisco, and it basically destroys the entire city. On top of that, not only did everything collapse because of the earthquake, everything caught on fire, and whatever was left was burned down. After that, they realized that whatever they built on the ground should be extremely strong and sturdy. If you want to build a small structure, build it with wood, and if something big, make sure it's built properly with steel beams. The results speak for themselves. Because in 1989, when another major earthquake hit San Francisco, the damages were so much less, and it wasn't comparable to 1906. Everything was built much stronger and with wood, and that is the reason not a lot of people were killed. The earthquake in '89 was a 7.2 magnitude, but it only caused 63 people to lose their life, and most of those was because of roads and bridges collapsing on top of them, not their house collapsing on them.